one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes from NBC5 WLWT. The Boone County Sheriff's Office says that its deputies were involved in the fatal shooting of an off-duty Florence police officer on Friday night. That's last week. According to the Sheriff's Office, the shooting occurred after deputies responded to a home for a domestic violence report in the 8600 block of Lely Court in Oak Brook. This came after multiple shots were reported to have been fired off earlier in the evening at the home. Now, upon arrival to the scene, officers say that they located a man identified as 37-year-old Dustin Zink, who displayed a weapon to officers and threatened to harm both himself and others. Probably drunk. Officers say that they then unsuccessfully proceeded to try to de-escalate the situation. However, police say that they eventually were forced to discharge their weapons after Zink proceeded to fire off his weapons several times at the scene, causing 4 deputies with the Boone County Sheriff's Office to return fire. The Sheriff's Office says that the shots from officers were fired just before 11 p.m. and came more than an hour after they first arrived on scene. After the shooting, Zink was taken to St. Elizabeth Hospital in Florence, where he was pronounced deceased. Zink was later confirmed by the Kentucky State Police to be an off-duty officer with the Florence Police Department. The Boone County Coroner's Office says that it was first notified about his death at the hospital around 11:40 p.m. No officers with the Boone County Sheriff's Office were reported to have been injured in the incident. Neighbors who spoke with WLWT on Saturday about the incident say that Zink fired dozens of shots into his and his wife's vehicles that were parked at their home prior to officers arriving on scene. In a statement issued on Saturday afternoon, July 4th, after his death, the Florence Police Department called Zink a dedicated officer who served his community with honor throughout his career, except at the end. They said, on behalf of the entire Florence Police Department, it is with profound sadness that we mourn the loss of Officer Dustin Zink. Although Dustin was off duty at the time of this tragic incident, his commitment to serving others extended far beyond the uniform. He dedicated his career to protecting our community with honor, integrity, and compassion, leaving a lasting impact on the fellow officers and the citizens he served. While we cannot comment on the circumstances of this investigation, we believe one moment does not define a person. Today, our department is grieving alongside Officer Zink's family, friends, and loved ones. That was the statement. But, the bottom line, they said he was off duty at the time. And it's always interesting to me that when a cop does something that they believe is in their favor, they say, well, police are never off duty. They're cops 24/7. They just happen to be, not at work at that time. But when something bad happens, he's off duty. He was off duty. But I've heard cops say before, I've heard, even other people say, well, police are never off duty. They're on duty 24/7. They just happen to have times when they're not, when they're, 10/7, which means not at work. Trying to figure out how to word it. But they say that. They say cops are on duty 24/7. But when something bad happens, well, he was off duty at the time. This wasn't on-duty behavior. I don't know. Am I just mixing words? Is this just semantics? Let me know. But the bottom line is, something happened, really tragic. Only he and his wife really know what the truth is. But this cop had a meltdown, it sounds like, and other cops, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know.